Hello, everyone. I'm Leonardo Montoya. Thank you for joining me today. Salam alaikum. Hola, un saludo cordial para todos. Hoy vamos a estar hablando sobre color. Oh, sorry, in English, right? Today we're going to be talking about mixing colors. We're going to start with the three primary colors, and we're also going to use black and white. We're going to talk about the use and abuse of those two colors. And we're going to see another interesting concepts that you need to know as an artist. There are chroma, value, and hue. So let's start right away. I hope you guys have your everything set so you can work with me. Otherwise, you can always just listen to this and then you can work with your own experience, right? So first, we're going to use yellow. We're going to create like a pyramid of color. We're going to use yellow at the top. This is good. They're called primary because they cannot be obtained by mixing any colors. These colors you have to get because they are not available for mixing. So yellow is the first one. Then we're going to use red. Here. So we're going to do some sort of like a pyramid of color. Now, it is important to understand the value of the colors, because when we use red and blue, they have a higher value than yellow. So for every mix, you need to actually use a percentage a lot higher in yellow than the percentage that you use in red or blue because of the value. So this is a little light. Okay, so it's been set right here. These are the primary colors, yellow, red, and blue. I'm using different brushes so they don't get mixed with the colors, and I try to keep them as pure as possible. When you keep them pure, that's chroma. So you want to keep the chroma of each color as high as possible. So there already we're talking about two very important concepts. The first one is chroma. And chroma is how pure you use the color out of the container. So when you say higher chroma, what you're saying is you don't mix in the color with either black or white, or you not diluting it with a medium, in which this case is water, because we're working with acrylics. So higher chroma is just the color out of the container as it comes. And then we move to value. And then when we talk about value, each color has a different value. And here I have numbers from 1 to 11. I think you guys got an email with the reminder about the webinar where you have this document. And there, I hope you guys can print it because it has all the information that I have back here. And this is very handy when you're actually mixing colors and you want to get the formulas and how to mix. So this is pretty much what I've been talking about today, all right? So I hope you guys can print it out. And when we talk about value here, we're talking about the lightness or the darkness of the color. So we have from 1 to 11. At the bottom, we have white. Then we have yellow because they're the two lightest. And then we start to go to the medium value, which start with the yellow, the yellow ochre, the orange, and then red, blue, ultra blue. These two colors, now they start to get darker in value, higher in value. And then violet is 9. And then the tallow blue and the burnt amber are actually 10. So they're very close to black, which is number 11. Now, we have to understand that black and white are not usually easily found in nature. So we have to be very, very careful when we do our paintings about using those two colors, because actually what they do when we mix them, they cool down the chroma of these original colors, the three primary colors, or any other color that will mix them. So just be very, very careful and try to avoid using mostly black. I actually almost never use black unless I do it on purpose. And then white, of course, you have to use a lot because you have to, use that as the medium to either go higher on chroma or lighter in chroma. Okay, so let's start with the first mix. The first mix we're gonna do orange. So orange we created with yellow and red. So we're gonna do it right here in the middle, okay? And I'm gonna show you, as I was saying earlier, yellow has very little value, so we need to use a lot of yellow and just a touch of red. So you see, usually, I mean, you have to do it yourself and experiment yourself. Usually I go 1 to 5. So let's say that here I got 5 times of yellow and just 1 of red. And you see, we get this orange. Seems like this yellow already has a little bit of white in it. So that's why it's kind of creamy, a little pastelish look. But we don't want to go too red. So this is our first mix. This is orange right here. And this is a secondary color. So secondary colors are the ones that you obtain by mixing 2 primary colors. Let's let it dry for a little while. And then we're gonna do green. So for green, we just do the same. We have to use very little blue, so we do use a lot more yellow, and that's because yellow has a low value. Remember here, this is yellow, and then we're gonna add blue, which is right up here, so that's why we have to use very little. More. We don't want to go too dark. We place it right here. Okay. Maybe I get back to them when they're a little more dry. Finally, we're gonna do violet or purple. And purple, that's a clue that you need to have when you're mixing these 2 colors. They are very high in value. Blue has a high value and red also has a high value. So usually when I mix these 2 colors, I need to add white. So it's not too high in value. I need to bring the value of these 2 colors down to get a beautiful purple, because otherwise it's gonna be too dark. So I'm gonna start actually with white. Put a little bit of white right here. I'm gonna get trying not to mix the colors here, so they're as pure. They keep their chroma as much as possible. You see, here we get a nice light blue. And then with red, we need to go very, very light. Okay, let's try it here. It's a little pastelish, so let's darker. So we are gonna try to create what is called a color wheel. And then it's already in the document that you guys got. And actually in the document, you're gonna get all the commercial names that you can buy on any other store. And that's very important to know. Later on, we're gonna be talking about the colors, the names that you get commercially get, and why it's important to actually know these colors. Because usually when you making a painting, when you're an artist, you need to put intention in what you're doing. You need to know, how the colors vibrate, how they mix with each other. You need to know how to, with purpose, you need to bring either, warm colors, cold colors, and this all helps with your message. You can do monochromies, you can focus on, actually artists do have like periods in which they work with particular colors. So this is the last mix for the secondary colors. So here we got purple. Okay. So we started to get the color wheel. So we got the 3 primary colors, and then we have the 3 secondary colors. Trying, needing to dry down a little bit. Okay, so I was saying it's very important for you to get to know the names of the commercial colors that you can get. And that is because we're going to do another exercise with some blues about, different names for blues. And then when we talk about those names, what we are talking about is hue. So we already said chroma is how pure you use the color out of the container. We say value is how light or dark that color can be. Actually, when you want to see value in your paintings, let's say you got one of these paintings and you want to see how much value they have, you can take a picture of that, and then you can put it in black and white. And when you have a picture in black and white, you can see the higher value, the lowest value, and that really helps to visualize what you're trying to do. So this is hue. This is the name of some of the colors. These are the colors that I personally use for my paintings. It is a big, usually you should start with a low, like with not too many colors. It's called like a limited palette of colors. But, I've been doing this for almost 30 years and I love colors. So I actually use all of these colors, and, depending of which painting I'm doing. But it's very important to know the properties of the colors, how to mix them, how much body they have. When I say a color has body, is how opaque or translucent that color can be. So let's start right away. Let's start with the white. When you're working with white, I will advise you to go for the titanium white. The titanium white has a lot of body, is very good for mixing other colors. And you can actually create a texture, and it helps the other colors that don't have a lot of body, that are too translucent, as the Viridian or the Elizabethan Crimson, for example. It helps them to get some body. And then they also have 2 other names. Well, they have a lot of different names, but these are the ones that I'm going to be talking about today. Titanium white, the lead white, and the zinc. The lead I don't normally use. It's very good for priming the canvases. So I already get canvases that are primed, so I don't get to use a lot of lead. And you have to be careful with that color because it's actually toxic. So that one I will say no. And then zinc is also a very good white. I prefer the titanium though, because it's more opaque and it has more body to it, but you might also use the zinc white. Then we move to the cadmium yellow. And then in the cadmiums, we have a lot of different choices for yellow. We can get it light, and the light has a really low value, but then we can get medium, or we can get like a deeper yellow in cadmium. This is the yellow is usually a warm color, but for that we need to talk about temperature. So let's finish with this first, and then I will tell you which colors are the warm ones and which ones are the cold ones. Okay, so let's just keep going. Another color that I use a lot is Naples yellow. Naples yellow is it's a mix actually of yellow ochre with white. And you also might be able to find it commercially with a lot more of yellow of white, so it's even more light. That color is great when you're mixing skin color. And then we move to the yellow ochre. It's also a warm color, and you also can get it in pale, which is a little lighter than the regular yellow ochre. Next, we have a cadmium orange, and that's, this color right here is the mix between yellow and red. And the next color up will be, up in value would be in chroma, I mean, it would be vermilion, which is a red that has a lot of yellow in it. That's also warm colors. Then we have cadmium red, and we have cadmium red medium, which is just another red, but with a higher chroma. And then we have permanent rose. We have the light red, which actually has a little bit of brown in it. And then that color is really good when you're mixing color scheme. The light red, and you probably mix it with either the Naples yellow or the yellow ochre. Okay. Actually, let me know if you guys have any questions, and I might be able to answer. Let me know if I'm going too fast. Next color down, I have a Elizabethan Crimson. This is another warm color, and it's very good when we are actually trying to create a shadow that it needs to be warm, because usually shadow, you want to go for the cold colors. So usually when you do shadowing, you use a lot of blues. But if you need to create like a warm shadow, which usually you can do it for like the nostrils, or when you're working with the mouth, you need to have that shadow warm color. So that's when I use the Elizabethan Crimson. Then we have like the neutral colors. They're all mixes of the primary colors, and we have the burnt sienna, the burnt, and the raw amber. And those three colors, I usually start using them with when I first started painting. Okay. Keeping down, I got magenta and violet. And then we can find another names for this, like cobalt violet or dioxide purple, and those are actually very high in value. Okay, next color down is ultramarine blue. Then we have tallow blue, we have cerulean blue and cobalt blue. Believe it or not, these two colors, cerulean blue and cobalt blue, are warm blues. So when you're trying to create like a warm a sky for like a seascape or something like that, you need to use those two colors, because it's going to keep the vibration of the painting warm. And then going down, we have permanent green. We have it also in deep or light. And then we have viridian, which is actually a cold green. And then we have terra verde. This color actually is very good when you're actually trying to achieve a skin color. It's very good for shadows. Finally, we have olive green. It's a cold color and it's very deep. It has a high value. And sepia, which is also a cold color, very high in value. That's why I place them next to black. Once again, black, I use it very, very little, mostly because it changes the chroma when you mix it with other colors. Okay, so we already have here 3 primary colors, three secondary colors. And now we're going to move to the tertiary colors. So tertiary colors are the colors that you get in between. It's going to be a yellow orange. It's going to be a red orange. Then we're going to get a red violet. And then we're going to have a blue violet. Then we're going to get a blue green and then yellow. So it's pretty much the same thing. We're going to keep the proportion. Working with yellow, it needs to be very, very, you need to be very careful because yellow has a low value. So let's go first with this one here. Let's create a yellow orange. So you see the proportion, I'm putting like 5 times yellow and then just 1 orange. More. And when you get this base right here, if you add a little bit of black to this color right here, you will get like ochre mix, which is also very good to when you're working with color scheme. Okay, so that would be our first tertiary color. Let's go and create a darker orange. So you see, red has a lot of power. It's a higher chroma, so it needs to be used very well. Okay. Now, let's go to create a purple that has more red. Turns a little bit into a neutral. So we're going to place it here. I hope you guys got your brushes and your paint so you can follow me here. Okay. Next, we're gonna do blue violet. So let's keep it here. We add some blue. A little more. And this is very close to ultramarine blue. Next, we're gonna create blue-green. So to the green mix that we already have, we're gonna add some more blue. And it should give us like turquoise green. Commercially, you might find this as Viridian, sap green. Now, finally, we're going to use a light green. So then we use yellow. Just a touch. This one is going to be right here in between. So I need to dry down a little bit so I can do another translucent. Okay, now I'm gonna leave you homework actually. What you can do is you can start playing with the color wheel. Actually, I have a color wheel here already. So what you can start to do is start playing with these colors. And I don't know if you noticed yet, but I haven't mixed any of the primary colors with the third one. When you mix the two primary colors with the third one, that's what it's called a complementary color. Is the opposite color is the color that is missing in the mix. So right here, let's explain that a little bit better so you guys can understand. Let's say I'm gonna do a little bit of green. And then I'm gonna, let's do it here. And then I get a little bit of red. So red is the complementary color of green. And when we mix them, what we get is some sort of like a gray tone. We neutralize the mix. So let's get to dark. So what we get is they actually turn into sort of gray. Now, when you guys have a color that is too high in chroma, is too high in value, and you wanted to neutralize it, you want to create more harmony within the color mix, you just need to add the complementary color. So this is the complementary color. Chroma, sure. I go back to chroma. So when I was talking about chroma, here is how pure or intense you get the color out of the container. So this yellow is called cadmium citron. So the higher value, the highest value that you can get in chroma for this color would be this. It's just pure. You're not mixing it with anything, not with the medium. In this case, is water. I'm using acrylics, or you're not mixing it with any other color. So when you're talking about chroma, it's keeping the color as pure as possible. When you say higher chroma, this is it. All right. Okay, let's move to the second complementary color, which is going to be to the mix of orange right here. we're gonna add the mixing part of in the mix, which is blue. All right. So to create complementary color for orange, we're gonna add a little bit of blue. And what's gonna happen is gonna be pretty much the same thing that happened before. It's gonna neutralize the mix, and it's gonna look more like a gray. In this case, it has a little bit more of like a brown. So this will be here. It's the opposite. So I'm pretty much creating all the neutral colors, the ones that I showed you before, bronze sienna, raw amber, burnt amber. Okay. They look kind of brownish, grayish. And finally, for violet, I'm gonna add the color that is mixing in the mix, which is yellow. So with the purple here, and then we add some yellow. So what happens is the same thing. It's gonna neutralize the mix. And it's gonna turn into sort of like gray. Okay, so homework, play with the colors, play with the mixes. As you can see, either this palette or here, you can see already we created, several colors out of just the 3 primary colors, and we haven't used yet any white or black. All right, so let's play with those colors. Let's play with the black and white. As I said before, the problem with using these 2 colors is they usually change the chroma in any color, or they actually cool the colors down because they turn them into a little bit of like a grayish color. So let's see, let's add a little bit of white to this orange. And it seems like this brush has a little bit of blue in it. So what is happening is it's kind of neutralizing this color, but it's actually good because when you are creating a skin tone, usually people think that the skin tone is some sort of like a pinkish kind of color, but it actually is more similar to gray. So when you're creating a skin color, you always wanted to add a little bit of blue into the mix because it makes it look more natural. Okay. So this is like a good color for the skin. So this is a new color right here. And I wanted to show you because this is a very interesting color. When we mix yellow with black, here, we actually get a green. It's a very unique green, not too much black. You see, black has a really, really high value, so you have to be careful. There you go. Okay. So look at this green. It's kind of like avocado, kind of yellow or green. This is neutral because black and white, what they do when you mix them, they neutralize the color. They, like, you know, yellow is a warm color, but because of the black, it cools down the color. And there you go. Let's call it avocado green. And what else can we try? Let's do a brown. We haven't done any brown yet. This one here. Yeah. So for brown, what do? You mix red, yellow, and a little bit of black, which we already have here. So it would be kind of like this, but let's make it a little more brown, a darker brown. So mix red, and then you add a little bit of black, very little, because remember, very powerful, very high in value. Okay, this is a nice brown right here. A little too red, so we have here. We already have red, yellow, and I wanna, you know, cool it down. So I add a little bit of blue. So there you go. This is going to be brown. So keep playing with the colors, create your own mixes. It's actually a lot of fun. And let me know if you have any questions, all right? I'm going to be here in the Emirates for the next month and a half. And I'm going to keep creating some more artworks, hopefully for an exhibition. So let's see. I'm going to be available for studio visits if you are here in Ras Al Khaimah or in the Emirates area. Yeah, I would love to have you here and explain you a little bit more about the process of my work. What else can we talk today? I'm going to go a little bit deeper in chroma. No, in hue. Sorry. I'm going to make another exercise here. Let's do this here. But this time I'm going to switch. All of this was created with acrylic paint, which is water-based. And all of these mixes that we have done, you can do it in any other technique. The only one that would be different would be watercolors, because in watercolors, we don't have white. So in watercolors, the white, the lightest color that you're gonna get, you need to use your paper or whatever, you know, base you're working on to have to get the white. Unless you're working with what's the name? I forgot. With the opaque kind of watercolor, and out of the way. Thank you. So here I got a canvas, and I'm gonna explain you a little bit of the process that I do when I start painting. I actually never work on white. When I start my paintings, I always start with a color canvas. I do like I prime the canvas. Okay, thank you. So Usually I prime the canvas. Like for all of these, like right here, actually, I use the magenta kind of color to start the painting. So it's all along the painting when I first started. So here, let's say we're gonna create some sort of either landscape or seascape. This is a light blue that I created with acrylics. Usually I start all of my paintings in acrylic and then I move into oil. Why oils? Because to me, that's the key technique of all the painting techniques. You need to really know what you're doing when you're working with this technique, and the depth and the translucent effect and the brilliance of the colors, it cannot be achieved with any other technique. So that's my favorite one out of all of the techniques. And here I'm going to show you how the hue actually matters. And I think we are actually a little bit lazy when it comes to know about the colors that we're using, because we go to the store and we just grab any hue of blue that we can find. So here I'm going to show you the importance of knowing which blue you are using. So let's start with the most neutral blue that is available. This is tallow blue. It's very concentrated. It's very high in chroma, in value. And we're gonna place it both here. I'm gonna put it here so you can see the effect. Okay, have too much medium, but this is a beautiful blue. It's the purest blue that you can get commercially. It's called tallow blue. So look how it makes such a difference to have it on a already painted canvas. And this is what it happens when you put it on white. I don't know if you guys can see the difference. Probably not so much. There you go. Just look. Yep. So having a painted canvas, it actually helps a lot when you're working on your paintings. And all of these can be used for either if you are just a hobby artist, or if you are a beginner, or if you are already a professional. Sometimes, like for me to really learn the properties of each colors, it took me a long, long time. And if I would have known this, earlier, it probably would save me a lot of headaches. But everybody has a different experience. I can share you now my knowledge, but you guys need to work, put out the work and the hours, and create your own experience out of the practice that you do. So that's tallow blue. Let's see the difference. Let's try not to put too much medium here. This is ultramarine blue. Ultramarine blue has a little bit of red in it. And I using them pure. This is the purest chroma. It's out of the tube. I'm only lighting it up with a medium. In this case, I'm using turpentine and linseed oil. Let's see the difference. This is the blue already painted surface. And then let's do it here on white. And then I will do a close-up for you. just starting by getting the right hue of color, the right shade, is gonna save you a lot of work. And the intention that you want to create with your painting. Let's go to the next one. This is Cobalt Blue. Cobalt is warmer than the two previous ones. Here, so you can compare them. Any question, guys? Let me see, can you, the skin color, sure. The skin color, you can actually buy it already made. But as I said before, the commercial one that they sell is usually like a pink kind of color. So just make sure you add a little bit of the mixing, the color that is missed in the mix. So get a clean brush. So this is the commercial right here. This is the commercial skin color that you can buy, which basically is a mix of the cadmium, not cadmium, the red light, the light red. It's light red mixed with yellow ochre pale and a little bit of titanium white. But you need to add a little bit of blue, and I'm going to show you here the difference. This is the highest chroma that you get, but you see it's too pinkish. So I'm going to do it right here in the corner. And I'm going to do it on white so you can see. You see, this is some sort of like a pink. Oh, I can actually do it here. If you add a little bit of blue or green, you get a more natural. Can you see it? Natural skin tone. And that's another good property of the oil painting. It is translucent, so you are more able to create more depth in your paintings. You see how this pinkish kind of orange color turns more into gray sort of color, which is more realistic with the skin tone. You see, this is too reddish, pinkish compared to the natural skin tone of the skin. So you need to add a little bit of either blue or green, right? Okay, we were here on blues. So we did Cobalt Blue. I think it was this one here. No, this is Ultramarine. It's this one. Yep. So now let's do Ultramarine Blue on white. Here. Like this. You guys can see the difference in the colors. So this is Cobalt Blue, this is Ultramarine Blue, and this is Tallow Blue. This is on white, right there. And this is on a already painted blue surface. There you go. Okay. Finally, we have cerulean blue. Cerulean blue is also a warm blue. So if you wanna to create some sort of like a tropical landscape or a seascape where you wanna have a little bit more of brightness, this color, this blue has like a little bit of yellow to it. So what's the difference? And let's do it also on white. Okay, that's a very interesting question. How to know when you see your painting in black and white, you want to know the painting has a lot of mixed colors. The black spots has more than one color, for example. Okay, so for that, you need to go back to the value of the colors, this first, and it's actually here on this chart. You will see the value of each color. So the darker, the higher the value, the darker they're gonna look in black and white. So let's say, you are mixing colors and you're creating a color similar to black. When I paint my darker color, I actually never use black. I mix burnt amber and blue, either ultramarine blue or phthalo blue. And that gives me a more natural shade of black, which is actually a dark gray. So let's think of when you see these black and white pictures of your work that is in color, let's just imagine that we are getting rid of light. When we don't have light, what we see is shades of gray. So that's what happens. So the darker the color or the mix of color that you have is because they have a higher value, in this chart. So that's how you can figure it out which color is what. So usually red and blue have a higher value, and then the yellows and the orange has a less value in the scale of grays. Okay. I hope that answers your question. Let's put the cerulean blue and white to see a little bit of the difference. Now, next thing I'm gonna do, I haven't used any of the white, so that's what I'm gonna do next. To the cerulean blue, I'm gonna add some white. This is what happens. You see, I'm already creating some very nice feeling of like a sky. Blue. Let's go to the cobalt. And I think you guys can see how it changed the chroma in the color when I add the white. You see this color has a little bit more of red, so you get like a violet or purplish. So mixed. I think this is the tallow. Let's go with the ultramarine. Ultramarine has even more red. So yeah, I think you can see the difference. This one is a lot more purple. So knowing the properties of the colors is going to help you a lot in creating your paintings. And finally, we go for the tallow blue. We add some white to it. For oil, I think I said it before, I use the medium that I like to use is half and half. I use half turpentine and half linseed oil because the turpentine actually helps for the oil painting to dry down a little faster. So look at this. This is really cool. And then each artist needs to find what works for them. They need to, experiment. They need to allow themselves to make mistakes, to create different, different patterns of colors, and that actually helps you to grow as an artist. It helps you to explain the message that you have in your paintings, the purpose that you want to say. So you see, this is very nice. I like the colors here. This is white. Okay. And then let's say that we're just gonna create some sort of sky blue. So allowing the colors to mix. This is what you can create. This can be used either for like a sky or for the ocean. So a little bit white. Medium. Now, medium can also be used to lie down, to bring down the value and the chroma on the color. And there is an experiment that makes very easy to understand the difference between lighting up a color with white, because usually we tend to think that the only way to make a color lighter is with white. But actually, when we do it with medium, we are allowed to preserve the chroma of the color. So, let me explain that with red. Here I have red and I have white. I'm gonna add red here to the white. And what the result I'm gonna get is gonna be a pink. So here, bringing the value down with white. But you see, it changed the chroma, it changed the color. Let's have a look at the paper. So this is red mixed with white. We bring the value in the chroma down, but you see we got a total different color. But if we want to keep the chroma high, but we want to light up this color, all we need to do is some water. Okay, so we're almost done here. Okay, and this is the difference. This is red, but I just light it up with medium. And this is the difference. You see, if you try to light it up with white, you're gonna get some sort of a pink. But if you do it with medium, in this case, water, what you get is a higher chroma and a higher value with the original color. Okay, guys. Well, thank you for joining me today. I'm very honored to be part of the Al-Qasimi Foundation, and I would like to thank them, especially for allowing me the freedom, the space, and the time to create new artworks. And I hope to see you soon. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. And I'm going to be available here in the studio until the end of April. And, you know, you can always reach me out via Instagram or Facebook. I'm in Instagram as Orle Moon, or on Facebook as Leonardo Montoya. All right. Thank you guys for being here today, and I'll see you the next time. Bye-bye.